So we're going to create custom controllers today with Apex. So as we have discussed earlier that for custom controller we need to write our own logic, right? Now for writing the logics, Visual Force will not work. You'll have to use Apex. Apex programming language is what we are going to use here, right? Okay. So we will basically create a class. Okay, so when I say that we are going to create a custom controller, we are going to write our own logic, what exactly we are talking about? We will basically need to create a class, okay, and all your logics need to be written in the class, okay, all the code needs to be written on the class. And then we will go to the Visual Force page, and on the Visual Force page we have to call we just have to go and call the class as a controller. That's all we have to do. Okay, so all that we need to do is, first of all, we need to create a class, write all the logics in the class, then go ahead, create a Visual Force page and call that class as a controller on the Visual Force page. Now what will happen, Visual Force page will know what all logics are written in this class because that class has been called as a controller. So now the code that you have written acts as the controller for this Visual Force page. That's what we have to do. Okay, so let's do it. Go ahead, create an Apex class. So all that you have to do is you just have to go to setup, develop Apex classes, create a new class. Now when you click on new class, okay, when you're defining a class, the structure of the class is pretty simple. I think we discussed on this other day also. It's going to be like class name, and then the methods inside it, variables and methods inside it. Okay, so that's what we have to basically do. And when you write a class, you can define a class as a public or private class. Okay, a private class is something which is not recognized outside this class. Public class is something which can be called outside this class as well, right? So usually, because I want to call this class on a Visual Force page, which is the outside, not inside this class itself, I want to call it outside. So it has to be a public class. So the outermost class that you are defining should always be a public class at least. So you have to say public class because you want to call it on the Visual Force page. So if it's a private class, you won't be able to call it. And give a class name. Call it class 1. Okay. Now we have to define the methods. So let's say I want to do something as simple as displaying some value on the Visual Force page. Okay. I just want to display hello, how are you? Let's say. So that's a string. Hello message. Okay. Now I've just defined a variable here. If you look into this is just a variable. Now to display this variable on the Visual Force page, what I need a method. Okay, so there are three types of methods that we are going to work with. A get method, set method, and action method. Okay, a get method, set method, action method. So basically what happens, a get method is primarily used for taking the value from the class and displaying it on the page. Set method is used for doing the other way around. Takes the value from the page, passes it on to the class. Action method can be used for performing any action, like on click of a button or a click of a link or something like that. Alright, so we primarily have get, set, and action method. Okay. So here what do we want to do? We want to take the value from this variable and display it on the page. So here we have to use a get method. Okay. Method also needs to be public because the method is also going to be called on the Visual Force page. Alright. Now what your method is going to return, that needs to be written. My method will return a string value. Name of the method, which can be anything. Show message. I say return hello message. Get. Use a get method. Alright. So that's all you have to do. So you define your method. So what is exactly your method gonna do? This is the name of my method. This get keyword is mandatory, and this is your method name, show message. Alright. What this method is gonna do, it's just gonna return the value of this string on the page. That's it. That's the job of this method. Done. Save it. Okay. So this is the name of the class, this is the name of the method, and this is the value that this method is going to return on the page. Now let's go and create a Visual Force page and call this method. Slash. Okay. In this case, you are not going to call a standard controller, you are going to call controller because it's a custom controller. I just say controller equals to name of the class. What's the name of your class? Class 1. It can be anything, whatever name of the class is. Okay. So when you write this, you have basically connected your Visual Force page with that class, right? Now you can call that method. You cannot call the variable. See, variable is something which is not recognized outside this class. You just have to call the method, and this method is going to return the value of this variable. So that's what it is. So when you call that method, it returns the value of the variable which we have defined here. Return this thing. Alright, so this is how we are gonna display something on the Visual Force page. Let me do another example. Instead of this, I say account. Let's do it with an S object now. Account A equals new account new equals new equals customer direct industry is technology. All right. Now, to return the value of this account, we again have to define one more get method. Public account get A return A. Now, this A is a method which returns an account record, right? So while you are calling the method A, you can call it like A dot name. Do you see this? You can call it field by field. A dot type A dot industry. Right. So here we are calling a S object. We're calling an S object here through the method. We have defined an S object and we are calling that. As simple as that. Right. So these two are get methods. So we have basically defined the variables and now we are calling those variables. If we just want to display, so anytime you have a requirement that you want to display some variable or some value on the Visual Force page, you always have the option of defining that as a variable in your class and then just go ahead and define a get method which can return the value of the variable. That's it. Okay, whatever data you want to display on the Visual Force page, you can actually put that variable value as a variable in the class and then display it using a get method. All right, now quickly let me know if anyone has any question or doubt here. Okay, let's do an example to show all the account list of all the accounts on the Visual Force page. Okay, so I'll do an example where we want to display list of all the accounts on the Visual Force page. How are we going to do that? uh, okay, so first of all we'll create a class. Should it be private or public class? Public or private?
Public.
Public class. Very good. Now name of the class you can put whatever. I'll call it list of accounts. That's it. Okay, this entire Apex programming is case insensitive, including Visual Force, which means doesn't matter if you have written this capital or you have written this small. Okay, it doesn't make a difference. In some programming languages, it makes difference, but in Apex and Visual Force, it's all same. Okay, so you don't have to be really bothered about that. Uh, because I want to display list of accounts, so I need to define a variable for list of which can hold the list of accounts. So and I'll write query to fetch all the accounts, existing accounts. So I will say select name, type, industry phone from account, right? So this is my variable which has all the values, all the accounts, and I need to define a method. Okay, public. It has to be a public method. Okay. What is going to be the return type for this method? Get method will
It
always have a return type, right? It's going to return list of accounts. So return type will be list account. Okay. Get what exactly it's going to return? It's going to return this. Okay. That's it. That's what we needed. I've defined a variable for which holds a complete list of all the accounts, and then I've defined a get method which will help me show these values in the Visual Force page. Let's go to the Visual Force page and formulate the page. Okay, have a quick look into this code once again. So we have defined the class, we have a variable here, and we have a get method here. Okay, just a 3-line, 4-line of code. Now let me go to the Visual Force page. Now since I'm talking about a list of records here, I need a page block table component here. Correct? So if you remember, that's something which we used in standard list controller for displaying list of records. Okay, so the components on the Visual Force page are going to be same. I'm going to use a controller. What is the name of controller class? List of accounts. Fx page block, follow title, list of accounts, fx page block table. Okay, so for a page block table, we need to define the value and a variable. So value in this case is going to be your method name. What's the method name? Variable can be a, and now start defining the columns inside this. Dot name, type, industry, home. So this is what we have. This is a list of all the accounts that we have in our system. Alright, so it's pretty simple. All that I have to do is I just have to define a get method and I have to define a page block table here. Alright, now it's showing all the accounts. What if I just want to see the accounts where the type is customer direct? I just want to see the accounts where the type is customer direct, only these accounts. Then all that you need to do is you just need to go ahead and in your query you have to write where type equals customer direct. Now since I've changed the query there, value here is also going to get updated. See, only the records where type is customer direct. We change it, make it customer channel. Right. So as you can see now here you have the control. As we did the standard list controller. Standard list controller was basically displaying all the information or list of all records, and we do not have much control over it. All right. We did not have a place where you can actually go and write the logic, or you can write your query the way you want and display the data exactly the ones that you want to see. Here you have the control. You want to write the logic that okay, show me only the records which meet a certain criteria. You can do that. Got it? Okay. Now on the same table, I've displayed name, type, industry, phone. Let me create one more column. Text column. Save it. I've added one more column called facts, to which it has a problem. It reacts and it throws an error. Can one of you look into the error and tell me what exactly the problem has been? What is the issue here?
Uh,
It's not there in
we have not created the facts
Korean.
class.
Sorry, we have not created what?
Facts in the class.
So it's basically not in the query. So now ACTS is only name, type, industry, phone. It doesn't know what is facts. Till that time you don't mention it. Alright. So you have to mention it here. Facts also. Save it. Now if you do, now it knows what is facts. Now if you go and save it, it will not have a problem. It can display facts also. Correct. So whatever fields you want to bring in here, you have to make sure that you query that field in the SOQL query. Alright. So that's how it's gonna work. Now, all right. So let me do another example. I'm going to display two different list of accounts. I'll display the accounts only, right? So I'll display the customer channel accounts and the customer direct accounts. Okay, and I want to display both of them on the page. So let's go ahead and work on this. Okay. So I want to display both the list, the channel as well as what is that? The customer direct accounts. Okay, let's say I have two lists and I want to display them. I'll just start with public class list of accounts to and we will say list of accounts to and so I will need to define two variables, list of accounts and channel accounts equals select account industry from account equals customer channel Okay. Now, since I have two different list of accounts that I'm dealing with, I'll need to define two different get methods also here. So I'll say public list of account get channel. This should return the channel accounts. And then I can say public list of get direct, which should return direct. That's it. Okay, now I have two different get methods. One get method is going to return the first variable, the second one is going to return the second variable, right? And I want to display both the list on the page. Okay, so let's go to the Visual Force page. Controller is going to be name of the class page block. Okay, I want to display two different tables, right? So one is I can actually go ahead and show two different tables inside the same uh, one below the other one. So I can make it a fixed space block. The layout part, how do you want to actually put display them on the Visual Force page? That's something which you can decide. Now, in this case, I'm creating two different page blocks. One for channel accounts and one for direct accounts. Inside this, I'm going to create a page block table. Take the value as channel where a apex column, the same thing what we did in our last example. Name, type, industry code, so column for everything. Name, type, industry, and code. Now I can put the page block table here also, where I can say value equals direct variable can be anything. It's column dot name fantastic. right? So now we have created two page block tables. One is for channel accounts, one is for direct accounts. So one after the other. You can actually try and change this layout a little more. Instead of displaying them, simultaneously, you might want to display one at a time. So for that, there is an option available to you, putting them into tabs. Let me copy this entire thing and go to the page P17. But in this case, we don't need them in page block tables. We basically need them in, we don't need them in the page blocks. We need them in tabs. So for tab, what do we need? We need a tab panel. Inside the tab panel, for tab panel, I will make switch type equals Ajax. Inside the tab panel, we will create the tab fix tab. Label the tab as customer channel. The other tab is customer direct. This should come under this tab. These two things we don't need. Delete it. Okay. Now we have this in the tabs. Let me save this. And now we have the tabs: customer direct, customer channel. So another way of displaying the same data, right? So basically, once you've decided what you exactly want to display on the Visual Force page, now how you want to display, that's just your choice. Like in VF16, we displayed it in the form of uh, the page blocks, right? So two page blocks, one after the other. Sometimes that might not be the best thing for you. You have more records in one list, so you might want to display one at a time, like customer direct, customer channel. In this way also you can display. All right. We can increase the label width like this. If you want to increase the size of the tab, you can always go ahead and increase that. That's what I'm doing here. So I made the label width as 300 pixels. It doesn't make any difference to the code basically, but only the look and feel of the tab. That's it. Right. So That's what we have to do. We just have to see what we need to display. We have understood this part, that how we actually get the data or information to be displayed on the Visual Force page. Now, once you've decided that, all that you need to do is you just need to go ahead and decide what sort of components you want to use in Visual Force. So you have, used a lot of components in the Visual Force, and you know how you want to display the data. Based on that, you just go ahead and use those components. You need a page block, you need a page block section, you need a tab. The choice is going to be yours. Like, let me know if anyone has any question or doubt here.